Right. Oh, someone else is dropping some bags. Beautiful. Loads of people turning up for a bit of manure today. Finest purveyors of manure we are around here. Well, I'm going to be. Got 3 horses. Anyway, this one's called Society. I'm just going to share this out. And do you have to be part of it? That's the big question. What is it? We're going to get into nuts and bolts out. We're going to be talking about some of the stupid stuff that's coming out of the Parliament today. They're now saying that you can't sleep with anyone outside your household. I'm going to leave that one there. I'm not even going to discuss that because words fail me in that one, to be fair. You're not allowed to sleep with anybody outside your household. Pretty all right if you're Jimmy Savile. I mean, obviously that don't bother me, but yeah, this is the kind of foobarry that they seem to be associating themselves with right now. So they've made a law. We're going to get into nuts and bolts of it in a minute, or a regulation or a requirement. Don't forget, they're not laws. They're just wishes of certain people. Nothing more than that. Julie C. Hello, Treacle. Lovely to see you. I'm just going to share this one out. Right, so we're pretty much shared out. Guys, if I can ask you to like, subscribe, share, please. You want some? Yes, mate. Yeah. Lovely geezer. How we doing? So yeah, I've been seeing and hearing things. So we're going to talk about society today. And let me just get up what society is. Just bear with me a second. What is a society? Right. So I'm hoping that actually I better watch this so I can see what you're seeing. Do exactly what I feel inside. Look at you kitted out, dude. Dr. Dawson, hello. Hang on, mate. Yeah, look at me. Look, oh, lovely. Do you watch UK Column? I do, not all the time. Let's just get back into nuts and bolts of where I was. Dr. Dawson, lovely to see you, gorgeous. Hope you're all right. Let's just have a look. So, society, the word society is, let me just boost this one up and let me just do that. And then we'll come back into here. And you should see that come up on your whole screen now. We can see it, bro. Fantastic. Right. So, society, it's a noun, and it says the aggregate of people living together in a more or less ordered community. I'm not sure that I actually go with that translation. I am under the understanding that society means a group of 34, or right, let's go to the society in the Cambridge English Dictionary, and then we'll work out what this society is that we're all part of. This is all part of the keys of unlocking Pandora's box, and we've got none other than Dr. Dawson himself, who is a legend and is not only standing for his rights and has been for many, many years, but he's standing for everybody else's rights. So, and that's what happens, you see, when people like us stand up for rights and natural God-given rights. We're not only standing up for our own rights, we're standing up for everybody else's rights. Okay. So a society is a large group of people who live together in an organized way, making decisions about how to do things and share the work that is needed to be done. All the people in a country or in several similar countries can be referred to as a society. But there cannot be no forcing you to be a part of that society, all right? And anybody, and I mean anybody, can form and make a society. A part of society, so that's high society. Right. A classless, multicultural, capitalist, civilized society. These changes strike at the heart of the British American modern society. But do you have to be part of it? This is the thing. Do you have to be part of their society? Well, we're born into their society via the birth certificate, but can it be forced upon us? That's the big question. Can these things be forced upon us, as in a Stalin, fashionist kind of way? Can that happen? I'm not too sure that they can. And I have a great problem with, I'm on the understanding that it has to be mutually beneficial. Okay. What's the new laws? Can't sleep together unless you live together. Yeah, that's right, Paul. The foobarry continues. I mean, Nicola Sturgeon, she's saying, "Oh, we're gonna have to bring this down even tougher if people don't toe the line." Well, I'm sorry, that's Uberfurism. That's when government should do what you say, all right, because you are the sovereign people of this country. They can only fulfill your wishes, right? So whoever's mandating these people, did Nicola Sturgeon put out a referendum and ask everybody in Scotland as to whether or not they agreed with what she suggested? No, she didn't. And that's the danger of when you let a governmental body take control of your country, and it doesn't have to get the proper consent of you guys. Now, they get this consent manufactured by a cross in a box. And we all know where that ends up, and we all know what that is. A cross in a box is it's illiterate. You're illiterate. When you put a cross in a box, you're illiterate. And that's why I've never voted, because I used to look at that and think, why am I not signing? Why am I not giving it my autograph? It should have autographed by Dave Witcher. You shouldn't have put a cross in the box, pleb, and shut your face up. We're going to continue ruling you. What's the new law? You can't sleep together unless you live together. Yeah, absolutely right. I'm going to see if I can find this foobarry through my social media platform. But I've seen it a few times today, and I'm like, are these? It seems to me that they want us to wake up, and they are... Kate Shearman is on it, and she's going, "Oh my word, Matt Hancock's insane plans." I mean, to turn around and say that it's unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. It's foobarry. Let me see if I can get my Facebook page up. So, that's one's downloading. You don't want that one. Your files are requested containing your Facebook information is now ready for you to download. Let's download it. Please log in. Okay. We'll do that later. They deleted my profile about year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I had about 16,000 people on there. And the problem with that is they took all my information, my videos, my live streams. Well, I can download that now and keep that if I wish to. But we know that Trump's come down a little bit tough on these people now with regards to their fact checking and all the other stuff they're doing, the stifling. I farted, I'm worried a bung is coming. That's what I love about you, you keep it real. The beaches have been absolutely rammed, flooded this weekend. The streets of Whitby. Let me see if we can do a little Whitby High Street this weekend. Let's have a look. Photos of Whitby Harbour, Whitby this weekend, because everyone's out and about. Now, what all this is, Whitby Golf, I don't know if this is going to come up. No, it's not. This is a test. We find ourselves in a test situation, ladies and gentlemen. We really, really do. We do find ourselves in a test situation. Now, the government is testing how far it can push you all. How much of this nonsense you're prepared to take until you go, actually, we're not really up for this. That's what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing, and they're test to see what point you're all going to go, nah, we're not having this. Let's. I'm just going to put this on silent and put that on there so you can see some bits and bobs popping up. Why did Trump refuse to shake his hand? Oh, I'm not too sure why Trump decided to do that, but there you go. Such is life. President Trump himself, I think, is doing some good stuff right now. He's got some good people in his team. They're not standing for any nonsense. Is he a puppet? Yeah, probably very much so. Is he part of the deep state cabal? Probably, absolutely. But I think that maybe if he gets into a second term, you might start seeing him acting a little bit, a bit more, with a bit more vigor. I thought, no, the woman will listen to this propaganda, higher aggression. What's going on here? So this is freezing up a little bit, I do believe. Can everyone still hear me, by the way? Are we all good to go? This seems to have frozen up. I'm not too sure why. Let me see if we're back. Yeah, we're back. Lovely to see you all. Hi, Dave. Do you watch UK Column? Yes. Pauline Marsh. Yes, I do. Today, we're seeing Washington, D.C. Right here, right now, the police. There is actually an element of police in America now that are actually, for whatever reason, I'm not too sure. I always question what they do. They seem to be siding in certain areas with the people and standing and going with the people because they know what they did to Floyd was just absolutely wrong. America is consumed in the wrath of this right now, and we see this thrashing out in the streets of London yesterday. But where's all the arrests in London of this social distancing business? We're not seeing that. No police made any arrests yesterday. I'm on the understanding for the people turning out for George Floyd. As much as that's a nice thing to do, what about all the other stuff that goes on in this country and around the world? Trump, I do believe, has just labelled Antifa a terrorist organisation. So the point is, these people in these uniforms here that you can see in the video, they're all part of a society, okay? But what makes you part of that society and what stops you from stepping outside of that society? Do we know? Apart from having to be brave, I have a question. Do we think the Floyd thing was a setup? I'm 50-50 on this Floyd thing, to be honest with you, Jesus Jones, because I'm seeing evidence of pallets of bricks being dropped off outside property. Now, why all this rioting has gone and why they've smashed all these shops up and gone looting, I don't know. That's because, as far as I know, if George Floyd did actually die, I know that he was kind of a peace-loving kind of guy. He wasn't about all this, and it's descended into chaos. But, you know, let this serve as a bit of a message to the UK police, the English police, that if you do start coming out too hard, like you did the other week in Hyde Park, where you broke that man's hip, where you need him in the stomach. I mean, shame on you all for doing that, by the way. And you don't never hear anyone moaning and whinging about the fire service, do you? You don't hear them saying, "Oh, taking the mickey out fire service and calling the fire service names." They don't do it. The reason why we do that to the police is because they've been doing very heinous things to us. Did you see the lack of ambulance crew at Floyd's side? Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, who knows? I guess maybe only time will tell how this one pans out. So, are we part of this society or are we not part of this society? And what if there is no other option but for us to be part of this society? Then that is some kind of slavery, right? Dave Shaler said that if someone is under a knee and couldn't breathe, he would be squirming more than die later in hospital. Just doesn't hit me. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's gone on there with George Floyd. All I know is that this is the aftermath. And we have evidence of police breaking shop windows and inciting violence. We've got that. We've had them identified. So a lot of these American constables out there, or officers, what you want to call, been involved in all of this nefariousness. They've been caught out. And it don't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. By the way, this test and trace thing that they've got flying on, a simple thing to do, just leave your phone at home. I remember a time in life where we didn't take mobiles everywhere. We never had mobile phones. Most of us never had a landline. So if you're worried about test and trace, do yourself a favour, leave your mobile phones at home, and also leave your credit cards at home, because your chips in your cards are traced. Good job, England, that you haven't had the chips in your hands yet, but that's coming. I think the chips in the hands are coming. Let me tell you, we're in Revelation, ladies and gentlemen. We are certainly in Revelation. This is all playing out. This is part of Revelation. Is America Babylon? Who knows? I don't know, Elaine. That's a very valid question, actually. Docker Dawson, look at the video and see the paramedics. They were dressed in police uniform with bulletproof vests. There was no bags of resuscitation kits and garbage. Can be held with a number 6 on it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that this isn't a bit of a master plan by the NWO. Maybe it is. Maybe they're all coming into full view now. We knew that the NWO would come out at some point into full view, and this could be it. They're certainly testing England. But the thing is, the people will always be cleverer than the system. Sovereign people of my country will always be cleverer than the system. Trust me. Yes. And look at this couple. Look at him. Look. He's an head case. Barging him out of the way of his bat. And look, this is authoritarian. This is tyranny. We don't do tyranny, do we? What don't we do? We don't do tyranny. We really don't do tyranny. But we find ourselves in a situation of tyranny, for sure we do. So leave your phones at home, and 2p for a phone box. Leave your phones at home and just do what you've got to do. Leave your credit cards at home. They've not quite got rid of cash yet, but they're after getting rid of cash. They want to phase cash out. They want everyone microchipped. And these people in uniform there with their big batons, they are the face of tyranny, right? That is the face of pure oppression and pure evil right there. Them men on the line there, enforcing orders without questioning the moral compass of it all. That's tyranny right there. Okay? Look at them, pointing their weapons at people. They're just savages. It's like they're asking for trouble. But anyway, society is this. Are we part of it? What is it? And what can we do to leave it behind? Well, I think personally, our society that we're part of is so more examples here. A fair society system is a fundamental part of civilized society. I'll ask you to sort of question, are we civilized at the moment? I don't think we are. In most countries, the family unit is still the cornerstone of society. That's been broken down in England and around the world. We're seeing that disappear. We are witnessing the corrosion of moral standards within our society. The judge described him as a danger to society. We live in a multicultural society. These are more examples of the word society being used. The society that we live in is via the birth certificate, and we covered that this morning in the SESKV Trust live stream that we did there. The school debate in society, the Royal Society of Protection of Birds, it is, but we can't be forced. Let's have a look. Let's see what, let's go get another one up. Can we be forced? Can we be forced to be part of a society? This is from The Independent. Let's see what The Independent has to say on this. I'm in the pub. Go away. It's possible that we can build a society where people don't have to work. Here's how. Okay, well, that's not really what I wanted to look for. And that's the thing, right? We used to be a nation that sort of built things, and luckily for us, there are still quite a lot of people with engineering and skilled bases. But that's how we built a great country. When we have a system where people don't actually produce too much, and it's all about paperwork and white collarism, that's why we're such a begging bowl nation, because that's just the truth of the matter. If we were a sustainable country with people that had skills, trades, the ability to just carry on regardless, then we wouldn't need to be in this societal structure as it is right now. It's a science of inequality, why people prefer unequal societies altogether. So are you all together? Are you all part of this? Yeah, let's just open him up. Anyone? Oh. All together. Are we all part of this? Do you wish to be part of this? Okay. To me, we live on an animal farm at the moment where the pigs run the show. So are we all together in this? I'm not too sure. Make sure you have a BitChute. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Can we listen? What we need to look at is society. To be part of a society, it's supposed to be mutually beneficial. Okay, you've all heard of mutual societies, like building societies. Mutuals, a co-op is a mutual thing. All right. So it's supposed to be mutually beneficial for everybody, not just a select few. We can give this back. We can walk away from their society. We cannot be forced to be part of something that we don't wish to be part of. And because this one has got too far out of control. Okay. And that's what we need to do. We need to start something different. We need to come away from theirs. Personally, I don't like the word society. Hitler was, let's have a look. Hang on. So, if we have a look at, what do you mean it can't be reached? Are you loading up? What are you doing? So, if we look at the German party, let me just come in so you can zoom in on this and have a look a bit closer. So you should be seeing that on your whole screen now. So the National Socialist German Workers' Party, right? Let's have a look. Let's wait for it to come in. So the Germans, when they were living under the regime, they called themselves the National Socialistic German Workers' Party, right? Abbreviated in German as NSDAP, commonly referred to in England as the Thingy Party. It was a far right political. It wasn't far right actually. He was left of politics. This is a lie. Wikipedia are liars. Adolf was a lefty. Okay. And this symbol here goes back to Sumerians and Egyptian texts. So that's where he got the idea for this. All right. That came from many centuries ago. But he adopted that for whatever that symbol means in ancient mythology. Political party in Germany was active between 20 and 45. That created and supported the ideology of National Socialism. So National Socialism, more commonly known as Thingy, is an ideology and practices associated with the party. Officially, the NSGWP and other far right groups. It wasn't far right. They were left of politics. They were lefties. Trust me. And we see the lefties in this country. Well, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't do this, you can't do that. It ain't no different. They're no different. So this is what he set up. But the point I'm trying to get across was it was a socialistic party. Okay. It was socialism. And we have in this country, have you got a social club? Have you got a social security number? Once you're in any part of this country and you're living under and using words like social, you are basically following the doctrine of what socialism is. Okay, pseudo-scientific racist theories were central in Nazism, expressed in the ideas of people, communities. We had the party aimed to unite radically desirables. This is not true, because we know that I could rip the pieces out of that all day long with the research I've done over all what's gone on here. So that's what socialism is. Socialism is a dangerous thing. We have a group of people in this country called the Fabian Society. Okay, and we'll have a look at the Fabian Society, and these are a dangerous group of people. I don't like the Fabians at all for what they stand for. So this is a society set up in this country. They have meetings. They normally use Quaker buildings to have their meetings in London, and they get quite a mass of people. This is their website. The future of the left since 1884. Not a lot of difference there between an 18 and a 19, is there? So this is the latest from the Fabians. You can become a member of the Fabians Society. About us. Events, publications, news and insight. So let's have a look at the Fabian Society. Latest from the Fabians. Our news publications are including the latest mailing to members, blah, 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 blah. Join the Fabian Society. Join the Fabian Society today. Stepping up. They're a dangerous group of people. If you dig into who the Fabians are and what the Fabians are, I do believe that their logo is a wolf in sheep's clothing, or a wolf over the top of a sheep. But just trust me, socialism is dangerous. Let's have a look at their history. They're very dangerous groups of people. The Fabian Society is Britain's oldest political think tank, founded in 1884. The society has been at the forefront of developing political ideas and public policy for the last 130 years. These are a dangerous group of people. From the right moment, you must wait, as Fabius did most patiently when warring against Hannibal, though many censored his delay. But when the time comes, you must strike hard, as Fabians did. All your waiting will be in vain and fruitless. It's flipping dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Let me see if I can find their picture. They play a very key role in the way that this country rolls out. And I do believe that the Fabians, the Milner Group, and lots of others have ill-advised the royal family over the years. Where the royal family are right now, I do not know. I'm hearing that Prince Andrew has decided to step down from royal duties forever. You will not probably ever see Prince Charles on the public stage again, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a good thing. I really do. So that is society. Are we part of it? No. I make lots of references to scripture. This is who we as people belong to. This is our law. Our law is the covenant, and that's what men and women should be living under. It's good law. It's good stuff. It's what the common law is based on. Let's have a look at what common law is whilst we're here. This is a land of common law jurisdiction. We just have to make sure that we don't lose that. We just have to make sure that we do not lose the constitutional parameters and the common law of this country. What is an example of common law? Nouns, common law is defined as a body of legal rules. That's not true, but it's been made by judges as they're issuing rulings on cases, as opposed to rules of law made by the legislator in official statutes. An example of common law is a rule that a judge made that says that people have a duty to read contracts. Yeah, there you go. There you go. The judge made that says that people have a duty to read contracts, because we're in the land of contracts. Let's have a look at a few things here that might help you. Just bear with me. I'm not the fastest typer in the world. Right. So let's have a look at a declaration of incompatibility. So declaration of incompatibility is constitutional law. Is a declaration issued by a United Kingdom judge that a statute is incompatible with the European Convention of Human Rights. So basically the common law, a central part of constitutional law. Very few declarations of incompatibility have been used in this comparison. So it's when a statute comes up against a right, that's when a judge issues a declaration of incompatibility. Okay, because a statute can't trump constitutional law. It's not allowed to. If you wish to use the Bill of Rights, 1689, you can do. These laws hold the Crown to, it holds the fire, it holds their feet to the fire. It's not for us. It wasn't written for us. It certainly wasn't. But the Bill of Rights is a constitutional document of England, which is the English Bill of Rights was an act signed into law in 1689 by William and Mary. He was William of Orange was a Dutchman. He come over with his armies and with the English armies. They overthrew King James II. So the bill outlines specific constitutional and civil rights. All your rights come from the King James Version Bible and the Creator. That's universal law. It's far greater than this stuff. But the bill outlines specific constitutional and civil rights and ultimately gave Parliament power over the monarchy, which was a dangerous thing. Many experts regarding the English Bill of Rights. Now, I personally think you're not going to see too much of the royals. I think that the royals have been officially paid off, wiped off, and this societal structure that we live in, but a bit much like the Russian Tsars without the blood. I think the royal family have been royally duped, but then they've taken the benefits, and who knows? So we're in a very precarious position and situation right now, where we have other governing forces having an overarching and overriding impact on us. So the Glorious Revolution took place in England, 1688-89. There could be another Glorious Revolution in this country. I hope there is. I hope that the people do rise and take back control of their country. And of course, we got the Queen's coronation oath. The coronation oath. Now, there is no point in swearing an oath unless you live by it. Okay, don't swear an oath unless you live by it. The coronation oath. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this. There are a couple of powerful documents to throw at the Crown. or the CPS whenever anyone's coming at you. Okay. The Queen's coronation oath is, the things I have before promised I will perform and keep, so help me God. That's an oath sworn to Almighty God, and that's a very dangerous thing to advocate and let what's happened happen to us. The Queen has not been vigilant, I'm afraid. She's not, and she seeks to employ wisdom of these societies that have ulterior motives for us as a people, and she's been taking counsel with them, and they've been duping her. This isn't the first time this has happened. This has happened many times before. People have actually had and lost their head. Thomas More lost his head with Henry VIII, because Henry VIII thought that Thomas More was a little bit had ideas above his station and tried to do things that the king wasn't happy with at the time. And I do have a good book on Thomas More, and we can read a little bit about Thomas More. So the Queen's been taking ill advice. She's been absolutely ill-advised, and I think that the monarchy now find themselves in a very precarious situation, not only with the scandals that have been going on. Why did Prince Harry leave the royals? Well, I think that Harry knew what was coming. I think Harry might have been been primed and advised to say, "Son, you best get yourself out of here." So you can go and check the Queen's coronation oath. This is constitutional law, which your powers calls to be. So this is what you have to understand, right? And this is a very powerful thing right here. Archbishop, will to you and your power cause law and justice in mercy. Do we have a merciful police force? No. Do we have a merciful justice system? No, we don't. Are they exercising law and mercy? No, not a chance. Not a chance. All right. Now, my personal opinion is I'm fed up to the back teeth of despotic governance. I mean, really, really, really fed up with it, and I think we need to do something about that. I really do. And that's down to us. That really is down to us to do that. We have to do something. Truthfully, we do. We can't carry on down this road. Ill-advised or complicit? That's a very good question, Durf. Personally, I think Her Majesty the Queen, ever since she took the throne after her father George passed away, has been ill-advised. I really do. And I think piece by piece, they've been doing that. And I think that the royal family, my personal opinion is that the royal family find themselves in a situation just like the Tsars, because the Metropolitan Police or the City of London Police have been patrolling Buckingham Palace for many years now. You right, babe?
Found your ball
Where was it?
in Vixen's mouth.
Golf ball?
No.
Oh, and we've been we've been seeing the Metropolitan Police parading their weaponry about Buckingham Palace. There was a program on years ago. What would happen if the German National Socialistic Party had come and invaded this country? What would England look like? Well, when I see them coppers up a few years ago with their machine guns outside Buckingham Palace, I thought, oh, I remember that program. We have men with machine guns at Downing Street with big steel gates. That's not democracy. Sorry to bust your illusions. That is not democracy. That is a tyranny. Because a democracy, if a democracy works properly, we're going to have a look at democracy as well in a second, you wouldn't need that, because everyone would be well behaved, well mannered, well trained, well educated, have plenty around them. They would not need to be in the disparity that we find ourselves in. How are they going to enforce it, the dirty perps? Who knows, mate? Who knows? Docker Dawson is saying it's all closed up now. There are people that are saying that Buckingham Palace is having a renovation, 10-year renovation. The Queen is round at Windsor Castle. I cannot deny nor confirm. I think the royal family are in a very rocky, dangerous, precarious situation. Are they complicit with it all? Probably. We will enforce it if the people are coming to arms, and that's what the people need to do now. And I think the reference and the context in what Dr. Dawson is saying is that we just all need to come together. And I think there is going to come a time where decent men and women are going to have to do this. I do. I seriously can see it. I can feel it in me. Yeah. We will see. Hasn't the royal family been infiltrated by Philip and his connections with the Nazis? Maybe. We know that many of the royal family took on that ideology, and in fact, they are German descendants anyway. So, what is a democracy? Let's have a look. Right. Democracy. Let's just come back in here a second and go back to here so you can see what this is. Let's just wait for that to come up on my screen so I can see that you can all see that at the same time. It should start coming up now in a second. Right, hang on. Let me just wait for this to load. I'm just seeing it real time. Right. So, democracy, a system of governance by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. A state governed under a system of democracy, control of an organisational group by the majority or its members. Well, there you go. What are the? Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about it, because I think Google is a bit. I don't think it gives you the true definitions, but we'll see what Wikipedia has to say. Democracy is a Greek. It's a Greek ideology. It's England was Albion years ago. England imported democracy. But it was never the way that we used to live by. We never lived. We lived under God's law. Is a form of government in which the people have the authority to choose their governing legislation. So, if that's the case, this is, and we're talking the true definition of democracy, then the people have the authority to choose their governing legislation or their governing law. Why this says legislation, I don't know, because back then legislation wouldn't have even been a word. When democracy was first implemented, legislation wouldn't have been a word. I'm pretty sure of it. That would mean that, like I've said before, and this is where the people of this great country have failed to pay attention. A democracy is where you get to vote in and make the law, so that the politicians in a democracy would say, right, we think that, and they tried this in 1911 when Asquith went up and said to the king at the time, we wish to do something with pensions. And the king said, that might be fine, but you must ask my people. And Asquith fell on his sword. The king at the time then knew that the people held the power. All right. And it's not that long ago, ladies and gentlemen. It's about 100 years ago. Okay. Maybe slightly longer. But the king at the time said, well, the people would decide. You must ask my people. Okay. And it never went through. So every law, now bearing in mind, you could not, there is no way in this world that any of you guys out there could beat this system of legislation. Why? Because they pass too much. There's too much of it. It's confusing. It's decaying this country, because you might sneeze tomorrow and that might be breaking legislation. Well, when a government can mandate and pass its own legislation and law without consulting the people of a country, that's when tyranny sets in. Because you would all block, I'm pretty sure, all of this stuff that they've been passing over the years. Now, this isn't your fault. This is through ignorance. That's all because you've never known. Government can only pass a law, and they should only really pass good law. But all the law they're passing is just business. It's how much money we can, how deep we can put our hands into your pockets. There's no laws governing morality, no laws governing and sanctioning the spirit and protecting the spirit and protecting people's properties. The only laws that they pass now is to how much they can obtain from you. So that is because the bankers float liens on legislation, and they might put £2 million into speed cameras, but they know they're promised that over 10, 15 years, they're going to get back so much. So you're just all being out to dry now. You, the people of this country, should make the law. You, the people of this country, should be the ones deciding what is on the legislators' books and what is not on the legislators' books. You, the 65 million people. You should have to, every law that's passed, you should have to give your God-given consent. And this is where we've come unstuck. Okay? Absolutely come unstuck. Now we have to change this. So it says there are generally two types of democracy, direct and representative. In a direct democracy, the people can directly deliberate and decide on legislator, right? So we're in a representative democracy. The people elect representatives to deliberate and decide on legislator. So we live in a representative democracy. We do not live in a direct democracy. We need to go back to a direct democracy, because democracy does work. It does absolutely work. But if we lived in a direct democracy, clearly you can see here, direct democracy or pure democracy is a form of democracy in which people decide on policy initiatives directly. This differs from the majority of current established democracies, where the representative democracy is the theory and practice of direct democracy and the participation of its common characteristics. That is eloquent right there, right? Absolutely eloquent. Lucifer, is Lucifer back? Bless him. Love is it's nice for him, but we don't live under it. Right, so yeah, we need direct democracy. Democracy does work, it's good. But direct democracy means that you, the people, the sovereigns of this great nation, and we are great people. Let me tell you, this nation is great. We are beautiful, beautiful people. But we've got into this representative democracy, and that is that we elect representatives, the MPs, to deliberate and decide on legislate. They debate on it. So we lit them, such as a parliamentary or presidential democracy. Well, we live in a parliamentary democracy. That's what we currently are in. We're in this parliamentary democracy. Representative democracy is known as indirect democracy, or representative government is a type of democracy founded on the principle of elected officials representing a group of people, as opposed to direct democracy. Nearly all modern Western style democracies are a type of representative. So this is the problem. This is why we are where we are, why the police are stealing children, why they're stealing cars. Would you ever, in a direct democracy, if you was in this, would you ever vote in a law that said social services could take your children? Would you? I don't suppose you would. If you lived in a direct democracy, would you mandate and pass a law that says that the police can come around and just steal your car without any injury, harm, or loss? Would you? Don't suppose you would. Would you, in a direct democracy, vote and allow any law that passed through that said that any council could come and take your private erudiment, your private property away from you without due process of law? No, you wouldn't. So that's the problem. This is the absolute problem here. We have all sat back. We have all sat back and allowed our erosion, right, in a common variant of liberal democracy. The powers of the majority are exercised within the framework of a representative democracy, but the constitutional limit the majority and protects the minority. right? Usually through the enjoyment of all but certain individual rights. Oh, so it says here we still do have individual rights. They reckon we have the freedom of speech, freedom of association. Well, we don't have the freedom of association, people, because the Stasi are now stopping you from coming together because of a little virus that's not really a virus. Okay? It's a pandemic, scamdemic. And I want to know how long you're going to let them continue. So, Docker, mate, I've just added you as go. You can do what you got to do, my Fritz. I need moderators in here. I need moderators to keep their eyes on all the things. So yeah. So right, I've just made a few more moderators. Hopefully that will be all good. So no swearing in the chat, please, because it affects the views. Yeah. So that's what we're in, right? We're in a system of democracy, which is a Greek rule, a form of government in which the people have the authority to choose their governing legislation. You do not have that power no more. The people is a plurality of persons considered as a whole, as in a case with an ethnic group or nation, right? People. We are the people. We absolutely are the people. And we have the authority. And authority is the legitimate power which one person or groups possess and practices over another. The civil state usually makes this formal by way of a judicial branch and executive branch of government in the exercise of governance. The term authority and power sometimes are inaccurately used as. Now, listen, I'm a little lad, right? I grew up in southeast London, deepest, darkest Peru. My mum and dad had nothing, but I knew I'd come into this world for some reason. I knew I'd come into this world to change it. I didn't know what it was back then. I didn't know how it was going to come out. I didn't know what we were going to be doing, right? And now as I'm older, I know what I'm here for. I am here to help with you guys to straighten this mess out. Now, we do this with information and we do it with love and we do it with care. We don't do this with violence. I'm just giving you an example of anarchism. Is a political philosophy and movement that rejects all involuntary coercive forms of hierarchy. It radically calls for the abolition of the state, which it holds to be undesirable. So when you see, oh, he's an anarchist, oh, they're involved in anarchy. Firstly, the people using the word have no idea what the word means. And the system and the politicians and the ministers, they laugh because they watch all the stereotypical responses from everyone. Oh, he's black, he's white, he's an anarchist, he's a racist, he's a xenophobe. I don't understand it. But if people truly had the vocabulary to understand the definitions of the words clearly, they would have a different outlook, an understanding and understanding of the words, right? Okay? So anarchism, people, is a political philosophy and movement that rejects all involuntary coercive forms of hierarchy. We are opposed to hierarchy. It radically calls for the abolition of the state, which it holds to be undesirable, unnecessary and harmful. That's what anarchism is. That's what you are when you're an anarchist. So maybe a little education when people say you're an anarchist. Say, yeah, I am. Maybe print this off, give them it, and watch their face drop because they're going to go, I never knew that. And that's as simple as this is. They never knew. They have taken the mainstream, lamestream, Fabian society narrative, right? That's exactly what they've done. They've not looked into the words themselves. Words are spelling. Spells are very powerful, okay? When you understand what the court system is and you understand the roles that these people play within the courts, the clerks, the judges, the magistrates, the CPS, the prosecutor. Once you understand the roles of these people, you clearly know whose jugular to go for in a nice way. If you go into a court, it's certainly not the judge you go for. The judge is impartial until you piss them off. It's the prosecutor that's bringing the claim against you, regardless of whether it's against your fiction as you as a man. If you rape somebody and you stand in a line out and someone identifies you, the victim identifies you, it doesn't matter what your name is. The body has been identified as committing the crime, you see. That's real law. That's the victim identifying the criminal. That's the one that's identifying the one that done the crime. But we have victim surcharges that this representative democracy, which is what we're in right now, has decided to pop along and go, do you know what? We hate the people so, and trust me, ladies and gentlemen, the system hates you. It despises you. They regard you as vermin. As if it to them, we the people are scumbags. Clearly witnessed by the courts, clearly witnessed by the police. They detest us. They absolutely see us as parasitical. But we're not. We're sovereign. Let's look up the definition of the word sovereign. Definition of the word sovereign. A supreme ruler, especially a monarch. So your supreme ruler in your own life should be you. Possessing supreme or ultimate power. That's you. You're all sovereign. You're all sovereign. Let's see what sovereign means in the Cambridge Dictionary. Let's have a look. Let's get into this. Sovereign is a noun. It means a ruler. Do you have rulers? Do you have bosses? Having the highest power or being completely independent. Sovereign power is said to lie with the people in some countries and with a ruler in others. Now, we don't have a ruler in England. We have a monarch. We have a queen who sits at the head of the throne as God's representative. She swore to keep the lively oracles of Almighty God. God bless her for that. We must respect the rights of sovereign states, nations. You are a sovereign state. Each individual, you are a sovereign state. You are your own nation. Trust me. So, quite clearly, sovereign power is said to lie with the people in some countries and with rulers in others. We must respect the rights of sovereign. So it says there, highest power of being completely independent. It doesn't say about being a monarch, does it? It says being completely independent. Righto. Boom. We're getting through some stuff today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just come back in and see how everyone's doing in the chat. Supreme ruler over estates. Yeah. Queen swore to uphold the Constitution. She did, Dev. Yes, she absolutely did. It is something that we have to listen out for. When they speak, we listen and work out what they've just said. Yeah. Power in silence is amazing. You are all king. As king. Are you asking? Are you as king? They never realised we'd figure this out. They actually hoped we would. They actually hoped we would. So let's have a look before I disappear. God's promise and covenant. This is so powerful, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be leaving you very shortly. The promise and the covenant cannot be taken away from you. It is the promise of Almighty God to you. Covenant is one of the most important theological ideas in biblical theology, right? The concept is this: where is God's covenant mentioned? God made a covenant with Adam, that the covenant of works, or a covenant with creation. Otherwise, however, we will not deny that God has a relationship with Adam involving mutual obligations. Distinguish this from the covenant which involves additional formalizing elements such as the sword, when acting under God's understanding, covenant, and more, blah, blah, blah. So if you truly want to find freedom, it's in there. I am a minister. I don't do ministerial duties in here. I am a minister of a good book. And once you understand what is in here, then that's when your world will pretty much open up into greatness. Okay. And I think really and truthfully, with all of what the system is doing right now, with all what the system is doing to us, with all these silly laws and legislation, I actually think that they're pushing us hard to come back to the good word. I sincerely do, because who in their right mind would pass a legislative rule of society that said that you can only have sex with people in your same household? Firstly, how do you police that? Secondly, how do you police track and trace? How do you police that? When the answer to track and trace and the millions of pounds that's been placed into track and trace, which is a crazy thing to do, surely that money would have been better spent on homeless people, rehabilitation, and making this country and its people great again. But oh no, the British and the English have proper lost their marbles. They spend money on millions of pounds of a track and track application, which when government and industry come together, that's the definition of tyranny. That's Mussolini. You can go and look up Mussolini's quotes on what he said. Someone asked him once, what is fascism? And he said it's when government and industry work together for a mutually beneficial interest. Okay. So they've spent millions and millions of pounds on track and trace, or a good few million, when the answer to track and trace is to leave your phone at home. Can you see how crazy that is? And leave your credit cards at home, because your chips carry around in your pockets they get you on them. Good job you ain't taken them in the hand yet, people. Let's have a look at Revelation. Before I disappear, I want to show you this. Get your juices flowing. So people say, I'm not taking the chip. Well, you've already taken the mark of the beast, because we've all got chips in our phones. We've all got chips in our credit cards, and they will go to get chips in people's hands soon. Trust me. For none shall buy nor sell unless they receive the mark of the beast. Let's have a look. Trust me, this is coming. We're in it. Everything's organic here, people. We're just doing this journey together, right? Let's have a look. No, that's not it. I'm going to find it. I will find it before I disappear. UK Media. Hello, Gorge. I'm just here to bring you education and entertainment. Right, it's Revelation chapter 13, 17. So let's have a look at the KJV. and that no one may buy nor sell unless they receive the mark. We're already there. He was granted power to be given breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their forehead, and that no one may buy nor sell except one who has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him understand and calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. His number is 666. Number of a man is 666. Well, man is 666. Let's have a quick look and I'll prove it to you. Before we disappear. I don't want carbon, I want it on the periodic table. So it is 6-part proton, 6-part electron, and 6-part neutron. Okay, that's what carbon is. It is what we are. We're made of carbon. We are made of carbon. Is the 6th element on the periodic table. It's located in period 2 and group 14. Trust me, carbon is 666. We are 666. Oh, you couldn't see that, could you? Anne-Marie, sorry, I wasn't paying attention there. UK media, Georgie Soros. Yeah, he's my mate. George Soros. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I know he's an old boy, George Soros, and he's done a lot of nasty, wicked things. Right, Trev, did you send the link that you was going to send out? Mate, you have to remind me again. You said this the other day, and I've been racking my brains over what that was. Was it the email? Was it the email for the health thing that you wanted? Or what was it? I can't remember, mate. I can't remember. Hi, all. Hey, Danny, Anne-Marie Sarsfield. Hello. Right, so hopefully we've got on top of this now. We've got some beautiful moderators in the channel. As this channel grows, I think the moderators are going to play a very vital part in keeping that element of the nastiness out. And I thank you all for your diligence and for your ability to do that. And God bless you all. Peeps, is this society something that we have no choice but to live in? All right. That's the big question for me, because we're all free. We were born into freedom. We wasn't born bonded. We wasn't born into slavery. We've gone through democracy and what the different democracies are. Personally, I think is direct democracy is a fantastic thing. I think it would solve all of our problems, but it would mean that every single one of you in this country would absolutely have to make the legislation or the law. Let's get it back to law. Let's get rid of this word legislation. It drives me mad, because all the time we dither and we do nothing. They're romping us, and I mean romping us like you've got no tomorrow. It's gone beyond stupid now. Email for medical. Yeah, I can send you that, Trev. If you just put Messenger in Facebook and send me your email, I'll email it over to you. Hey up again, Daniel Mullins is having a little chat with Anne-Marie. So, peeps, that's where we're at. You know, we're seeing so much going on right now. This whole world is being ripped apart. Feasts, famines, wars, pestilences, fires, floods. How much more evidence do you need that we're in the book of Revelation? We're about 4 years into the 7-year period, in my humble opinion. All right, that's how I personally see it. So we will see. Daniel Mullins, he's a gorgeous man. Dan, I've got Daniel on Zoom. Dan's a hell of a dude. He's out there making it happen. He got a lot of stick the other day when he come in here. Someone made some allegations against him, but had nothing to back him up with, and I felt terrible. It made me feel absolutely horrible. So I've apologised to Daniel Mullins. It wasn't me that said them, but just for him to have to go through that, it's wicked. Like, I am fed up with the wickedness, with the casting aspersions, with the having a go at each other. You're not going to get that here. If you want to have a fight with someone, go and join the army, join the RF, join the Navy. We're not doing that here. This is peace. We come from peace, and I love peace, peace and quiet, peace and tranquility. God's creation. That's all I'm into, and all I'm interested in protecting is God's creation. And with you lot, we do it together. This law society has no right to be doing what it's doing to us. Don't we already have the law, English law? We just need to cleanse the system and restore true justice under law. Amen. Perfect. And another amazing patriot, another individual that wants his country back. Just perfect. And it's achievable. And this is the problem that I have, is that people, why would you not want that? Why would you not want a safe country, a safe environment, a safe judiciary, a safe police, a safe education system where we actually make people proud, where we make them stand up and be counted and to be responsible for their own actions, where they come from peace and love? Can you imagine how beautiful this country would be? We're in the ruins right now. We are in the ruins, and we need a phoenix, and we need to rise. We have no one of vision in Parliament. All they're interested in is how much. Well, that's coming back to bite them now. Their system of governance is absolutely smacking them in the bum cheeks right now, let me tell you. And if they think for 1 minute that England will fall to their tyranny, you've got no chance. And the people have proved that. They've been going out on the beaches. They've been cracking on as normal. They're not taking too much notice. And the police are bullets. Rather than go down to a packed beach with 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people and pick a spoil with them, where the police know they're going to get a hiding, they go and pick on individuals that are at home and bounce them down to the cells on their chins in handcuffs, and they give them a good digging whilst they're in cuffs. That makes them cowards. It makes them vagabonds. Personally, I'd love to get myself a massive purse of white feathers and find all these people and send them white feathers in the post, because they're cowards, and our ancestors would have whipped them and probably all whipped them. And that's a sad truth. Our ancestors knew how to be proper. Okay, we don't know how to be proper anymore, and we need to. If our government actually wanted us to be a self-prospering, self-governing people, they would have put the farmers into straight practice straight away, producing loads and loads and loads and loads of food. They would have made massive buildings that we can grow all of these exotic fruits and bits and bobs that we need, so that we didn't have to have cargo plane after cargo plane coming across the stratosphere to get us that here. We can grow that in this country. We can. If you've seen places that have got orangeries and stuff like that, they grow stuff all year round, okay? Artificial light, whatever. Why has our solar production not gone into massive thingy, wind farms? Well, we could be a self-sufficient nation. We really could. We can run cars on water. Why are we not running cars on distilled water? Why are we still at the pumps begging the Saudis and all these others when we can cut them out of the loop? We could grow fields of hemp. The quickest plant growing on this world. We can make medicines from hemp. We can make cars from hemp. We can make houses from hemp. We can make clothes from hemp. The hemp plant heals us. What's not to like about hemp? Government don't like it, unless they're monopolising over it, unless they're growing it for themselves. David Lammy and a few of the others were down at the government growing plant the other week, rubbing their hands together because they've shafted you all. And it's a God-given plant, and that's the sad part about it. All right, so we need to get rid of these vagabonds. We need to kick them into touch. How do we do that? We use God's law. But I want to know why our country is a begging bowl nation. All right, we need people with vision to let them freely go about and make this country uber, so we don't rely on too much coming from abroad, so that we are self-sufficient, self-sustainable. I mean, let's be honest with you, most of the roads are already built, most of the homes are already built. What is going on? Why do we have all this disparity? Why are we not a proud nation of industry? Why are we not getting our industry growing again? We've had some fantastic people of industry in the past. Fred Dibner, the industrial people, you know, chimney sweeps, some brave people. Fred Dibner eating a big sandwich with black hands. Yeah. Never went home to wash his hands. Probably washed once a week. Had a strip wash. Lived a good life. Yeah. We're too clean. Oh, my kids, go and wash your hands, get sanitizing. Do you know what damage you're doing to yourself? Do you realise what damage you're doing to yourself? You've got no idea. Hospitals, get your hands under that sanitizer and go and say, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want that alcohol-based stuff on my skin. My skin's got oils in it. I don't want that stuff coming past my epidermis and getting into my bloodstream. All right, I put iodine on my wrists, Lugol's iodine. So I'm not iodine deficient and my thyroid gland can work properly. How many of us are thyroid deficient in this country? Our medical thing is just about doling out pills. It's not about educating people on health, wealth and nutrition. We're a dying nation. Cancer's gone through the roof. Peeps, we really do need to get a grip of this. And how do we get a grip of this? We go back to direct democracy. We go back to the rule of law. And guess what? Everyone starts getting healed. Everyone starts being brilliant again. Who wouldn't want that? Come on. You've got to want this. You really have. And you know what? When you want it, you can manifest it. So manifest it. Peeps, I love you all. I'm going to go for a nice cup of tea now. Oh, I fixed the drill earlier. DeWalt drill. I've had it for a few years, right? Both batteries went. And I'm thinking, do I buy new DeWalt batteries? I sat there and I thought, no. So this drill was sat in my garage for the last 2.5 years, right? I watched a video on YouTube earlier. YouTube, fantastic platform, of how to recharge and regenerate your DeWalt batteries. Well, guess what? I've done exactly what this little video said about putting some charge from another one into that. So that it gets on the charge, it starts charging again. Guess what? It's working like brand new. I've got 2 batteries for my DeWalt 18-volt drill working perfectly, like brand new, like the day I bought them. You tell me this ain't all a con, right? You tell me that DeWalt haven't made it so that then batteries after a certain amount of man hours decide to play up so that you go out and buy new ones. Well, I've just bypassed that because I'm a man of vision. I'm a man that uses his brain. And the more that you do, the more that you use your brains and you come into that awareness, jobs are good. And natural cures are being hidden away. Doctors kill for practicing. People, get magnesium into you, get zinc into you, get all your good trace minerals. Eggs, the #1 superfood of the world. We can come on. We can do this. Share it with your friends, your families. Come and get your kids on board. Get your aunties, your nieces, your nephews. Put some pride back into yourselves. Stand upright. Be righteous. Be great. Be brilliant. A guy turned up earlier for some manure. I do lots and lots of work for him. And he dropped some bags off. And when he came, he went, "Hello, it's you, Dave." I went, Yeah. He said, "I didn't know you lived in this lovely house." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm here." And we're having a chat. And I shook his hand. He went, "Oh, we shouldn't." And he's an ex-copper. He worked in Maidstone 2020 Centre on the cars for years, squad cars. And he said, "Oh, we shouldn't really be shaking hands." I said, "We shouldn't do a lot of things, really, should we? But we do them." I said, "Do you know how many people we've lost in this village and the next village out of 14,000 people?" He said, "No." I said, "One old boy allegedly passed this Rover 19, coronavirus 19. He went, "Oh, blimey." I said, "Yeah. So leave off on the fear, eh?" And he went, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, I'm not in fear." He said, "I don't know what this government are playing like." He said, "It seems they want a war." I said, "They might end up having one." So we'll see, people. I don't want a war with the government at all. I'm in Christ, and let them do and be what they want to be. I really don't care. But I know that we can do this. We need, and this starts from a very young age. This starts with education, ladies and gentlemen. This starts with kids at school. This starts with it at a very young age. You spark on them 4 and 5, 6-year-olds and teach them proper and teach them to be visionaries and don't suppress their ideas. When you suppress a 5 or a 6-year-old's ideas of how he wants to be in the world, what he wants to be and what he wants to manifest, you are missing that trick pony. They come up with such greatness and you let them build into that. You let them build into that creative side. Now, I always wanted to be creative. I always wanted to get on in the world. It was only when I realised that the system was actually not for me, it was against me, that I started to turn the other way. But up to that point, let me tell you, I was going for the stars. I'd have knocked it out of the park. Because I've always had that little bit of vision, that little bit of tenacity that I wanted to get on. but I know that the system is violent, and I know this system is wicked, and it's run by wicked, evil people. And I thought, I can't support this. So I've sat back, but I've done well, but I'd have done 10 times as well as what I've done if I thought that it was a pure, decent system, and it's not. It's a system of monopoly. We're playing Monopoly, where you're just a pawn on the board getting abused by the bankers and the jailers and etc., etc., etc. And on it goes on. It's not God's kingdom. It's not what we're here for. So we need to wake up, fix it up. People, I love you all. I will see you all very, very soon. Thanks for tuning in as always. Thanks for keeping it clean in the chat room. Docker Dawson, gorgeous, mate. Love you. Thanks for tuning in. UK Media, Durf, Paulie Art, Jesus Jones, all you others, Anne-Marie Sarsfield, everyone that's in the chat room right now. I can't see you all. But look, keep your visions clear, keep them pure, and we will succeed. Trust me. We are absolutely going to knock this out of the park. I love you all.